and welcome back to Quiet English with Jackie. I'm so glad you're here, so glad that you have joined me. In our last episode, we were reading an adaptation of Richard Connell's classic story, The Most Dangerous Game. Did you start to read the original? We left Sanger Rainsford seated at General Zaroff's magnificent dining room. The meal was elegant. The conversation was fascinating. But beneath the polished manners and fine china, something was terribly wrong. Today, we continue the story. General Zaroff leaned back in his chair and gently placed his wineglass on the table. A faint smile crossed his face. "You seem puzzled," he said. "I once enjoyed hunting every kind of animal the world had to offer, but eventually," he paused, "the challenge disappeared." Rainsford nodded politely. He understood the excitement of a difficult hunt, but something in the general's voice made him uneasy. "The tiger became too easy," Zaroff continued. "The buffalo, predictable." He folded his hands together. "When a hunter no longer feels challenged, he must find new game." Rainsford looked at him curiously. "What kind of game?" he asked. The general's smile widened. "The most dangerous game." For a moment, there was silence. Rainsford considered the words. Surely the general was joking. "There can be no animal more dangerous than a Cape buffalo," he replied. General Zaroff shook his head. "No," he answered quietly. "There is." He stood and walked toward one of the large windows overlooking the dark jungle. "The animal I hunt can reason. It can think. It can plan. It can feel fear." Rainsford felt a chill. His voice became quieter. "You don't mean—" The general turned and looked directly at him. "I hunt men." The room seemed suddenly colder. Rainsford stared at his host in disbelief. At first, he could find no words. Then he rose from his chair. "That's impossible," he said. "No civilized man could enjoy such a thing." General Zaroff remained perfectly calm. "My dear Rainsford," he replied, "civilization is merely a matter of perspective." He spoke as though discussing art or music, not human life. "I select only the strongest opponents," he continued. "I give them food. I give them a knife. I give them a fair chance. If they survive for 3 days, they win." Rainsford could hardly believe what he was hearing. "And if they lose?" The general answered without emotion. "They lose." The words hung heavily in the air. Rainsford understood now why the island felt so strange, why sailors whispered about it, why there had been no servants except the silent giant, Ivan. Everything suddenly made sense, and none of it was good. General Zaroff walked back toward the table. "I hope," he said pleasantly, "that tomorrow you will join me." "I have no intention of hunting with you," Rainsford answered firmly. "No," Zaroff said. with another smile. I wasn't asking you to hunt with me. I was inviting you to be hunted. The silence that followed seemed endless. Finally, Rainsford spoke. I refuse. I'm afraid, said the general, that isn't one of the available choices. He explained the rules with remarkable politeness. Rainsford would receive food, a hunting knife, several hours' head start. If he remained alive for 3 days, he would be free. If not, the game would end. General Zaroff smiled as though he had just offered an honored guest a pleasant afternoon's entertainment. You are an experienced hunter, he said. I believe you'll provide excellent sport. Rainsford looked toward the dark jungle beyond the windows. Only hours earlier he had admired its beauty. Now it looked endless, silent, and dangerous. He realized there would be no sleep that night, no rescue, no easy escape, only one chance to survive. The following morning, Rainsford stepped out of the chateau, carrying the small pack the general had provided. Behind him, the great house stood quietly against the cliffs. Ahead lay miles of dense tropical forest. Somewhere behind him, General Zaroff would eventually begin the hunt. Rainsford drew a deep breath. Years of hunting had taught him one lesson above all others. Never panic. Think. Observe. Adapt. He disappeared into the trees, determined that if he must become prey, he would be the most difficult prey General Zaroff had ever pursued. And that is where we will leave our story for today. In our next episode, the hunt truly begins. We'll discover whether experience, intelligence, and courage are enough to overcome an opponent who has turned hunting into a deadly game. Until then, perhaps ask yourself one question. How would you survive if every decision, every footprint, and every sound could mean the difference between life and death? Consider reading the complete novel, The Most Dangerous Game. Thank you for listening to Quiet English. If you have a story you think belongs here, a quiet story, a still story, a story worth sitting with, I would love to hear about it. Send me your suggestion. And if you are a writer, if you have written something gentle and true that you would like me to read, please send it to me as well. This podcast has room for new voices. Write to me at JacqueEddyVoice@gmail.com or use the fan mail. I read everything. Until next time, be still, be safe, and keep listening. God bless.